Let me shut my phone off here.
We should be, yeah, you got to shut your phone off. That's first rule of going live. It's like
Yeah,
Fight
trust me,
Club.
I've made that
Turn
mistake
off.
before.
We are live. So welcome everybody. I'm Scott Melker, and I'm here with Steve Ehrlich, the CEO of Voyager. We're going to give people a little time to show up and make sure that this thing's actually streaming, because I like to give the caveat that I'm not a tech dude, and Steve and I were frozen like this for like the first 30 seconds before I went live. I wasn't sure it was going to work, but it seems we're good. Are you drinking iced coffee?
Iced coffee. Yeah, nice. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that.
And same type of cup.
Cups. Mine's a Gator cup, of course, but
I got the NHL one. All NHL logos
fair.
on it.
But
I got a Delaware one.
Two dudes drinking iced coffee in the afternoon out of sports cups.
You know what's interesting is that I drink iced coffee all year round. I know you're down in Florida, so it's nice and warm all year round, even when it's 10 degrees out. Iced coffee.
Yeah, I usually drink hot in the morning, then ice in the afternoon for whatever reason. I don't know. Just laziness. I put it away and it's cold by the time it's afternoon. So it's a natural segue.
Ice all day long.
Yeah. So people are coming in now. Everybody hit the thumbs up button. Apparently that helps us so that more people will check us out. But the purpose of this obviously is you'd have to be living under a rock in Siberia not to know that I'm a huge fan of Voyager.
We appreciate
So I had Steve on the podcast kind of right around the beginning of COVID, actually. It was an interesting time, right when I launched it. And we had a lot to say. And so I just, they've done so much in that amount of time that it was more like, I'm going to call Steve and see what they're up to, and then realize I could just live stream that and let everybody else know at the same time. And speaking of which, I think we were supposed to be like in Vegas again this week or last week, right? We were there last year at this time, or right before Halloween.
Don't remind me. I think, obviously the news of the day is, the potential vaccine, which is looking really positive. Think about all these seminars, these conferences, and how it's going to be just nuts when we can all go back and do this again.
It's going to be like Burning Man all the time, everywhere.
Last year at this time, I think I did 3 conferences in 4 weekends in Vegas. And so I stayed out west. It's going to be like that when we finally get out of this, probably fully by summer, which nobody really wants to be in Vegas in July, but
I will literally go anywhere.
Yeah, I know. By next summer,
Antarctica in January sounds nice. As long as they're flying there, I'm ready to go.
It's going to be unbelievable. From July on, I think it's going to be crazy.
It is. It's going to be awesome. Maybe now it's time to start booking those really far in advance cheap plane tickets while they exist. I think AMC movie theaters was up like 80% pre-market today or something.
It's nuts. My family and I have been we went to the CMA Fest in Nashville two years ago for the first time. It was my son's choice for his 21st birthday. And so now we're going to do it each year, and we couldn't go obviously this year. Bought my plane tickets like last week for for June of 2021. And they're like, we're not going to be able to go. And now I'm like, yeah, I think we're going.
Oh, it's on.
I think we're going. On. So now I got tickets at like $200 a ticket, so I'm like, this is great. Hotel room's really cheap because
I bet plane tickets like 4x today. I didn't even look, but I bet they went nuts. All right, so I want to jump in. People had a lot of questions. So I can already see in the chat. I'm just going to go ahead and ask you this one because it seems to be the question that I always get. So I'm going to just go ahead and ask you, when Europe, when Canada?
We hired Louis Bateman recently to get us going in Canada. The regulatory environment changed there a lot. From the time we announced in July, we had a plan on getting there. Then you saw the exemptive relief by Wealthsimple, and there's probably 3 or 4 other exemptive reliefs that have been filed that they haven't made public. So we're going down that path. That's the path we chose to be regulatory compliant. So it's going to take us longer than we thought. But we think it's sometime in Q1 2021 now that we're going to be able to go Canada. But the regulatory environment changed on us, which is a much tighter environment in Canada than we have in the States. You actually have to be a broker dealer in Canada to do what we do. And to avoid that, you have to file what they call exemptive relief, which gives you 2 years to get your broker-dealer license, but allows you to operate. So we're going down that path. So we expect sometime in the Q1 of 21 now, delayed, but you got to play by the rules. And for Europe, one of the reasons we bought LGO was to make sure that, again, compliant and be regulatory compliant, because again, more rules coming down, passporting into Europe is coming. So once we get Europe, once we get the French entity, we'll be able to be into Europe. So that's sometime in 2021 as well. Again, the rules, you'll see the same thing here. If the rules changed, people would have to take longer to get up and running. But we're closing in. It's why we hired Lewis and we hired Evan Saropoulos as our CFO, because get us into these places regulatorily wise, compliant, and get going.
Well, it's got to feel great to know that there's so many people asking all the time, right? So
it is the number one thing. I know what number 2 is probably coming. But number 1, that is probably one of the top 2 or 3 things people ask. It's important. It's important for us. And we were going to go at it one way, and regulators tell you how you have to do it. We're not playing against that, because we see what happens when you don't do that.
Is it much like the United States, where it's state by state by state? When you go to Europe, do you have to deal with the regulators of every single country individually and determine whether you'll be able to operate there?
There's what we've been told by, council, and not even our council, just many different council out there, is you got to pick one jurisdiction to be your main regulator. And we chose France. A lot of the background of the folks, my co-founders are French, speak fluent French. So it makes things a lot easier for us. And then you could start, getting regulatory approvals in Germany and Netherlands and all that. And so that's what the path we're working on. So it's similar to the US, a little bit easier in a lot of ways, more difficult in other ways. But you have to choose you got to put a flag down somewhere. And so we chose, France to be our flag.
So then the dominoes fall basically once
Correct.
You have precedent. Not Correct. Like in the United States, where you just never get into New York.
That's probably one of the other top questions. When do you get into New York? Man, I wish I could answer that one. They've given out one, they've only given out one license in entire 2020. One since October, November of 2019. So we've gone a year with one license. Now, we're hopeful. We've been doing everything they've asked, and we're hopeful we get there. We don't think it's that far away, but when a regulator gives out one license in 12 months, you stop asking yourself, is it us or is it just the process? I'm a big hoops fan, big sports fan. The 76ers had their process. We have what we call our process. So it's coming. It's just coming. We got to wait on the regulators and play by their rules.
The old dating thing. It's not me. It's you. It's supposed to be it's not you. It's me. But in this case, it's not me. It's them. So. You guys just can't get it together. So sorry. Yeah. I mean, New York, it's the question for everyone, not just for you guys, obviously. And hopefully they'll get more sensible than not later. And it's interesting. I think we're starting to see at least a little more hint of clarity coming in the United States, right? I mean, at least we're seeing like the OCC say banks can custody and all this stuff happening in Wyoming. So maybe there's some hope for us yet.
I think that's right. And but I did read some article today, early this morning, about the OCC, New York State filing a suit against the OCC about banking and crypto in New York, because it all comes back to the BIT license and so forth. So, most of the United States is in a pretty good spot. We'll get there. And I think depending on what happens over the next couple of years, I think there's, we're reading all sorts of stuff about Biden putting in place Gary Gensler. I think that would be, really good for the industry. But even making regulation in the U.S. isn't something that you could just write in script and it's done. There's a whole process for people to review it and comment and then get into so that itself is not something that's going to change overnight. It's probably another year to 2 year process to pass any real regulations at a federal level.
Yeah, I won't keep my fingers crossed, unfortunately. Maybe both of them behind my back or something. I don't know. So probably the next obvious question, right? How do you pay such high interest?
Yeah, it's we choose our partners very carefully, and who we work with on that front. We work with 5 or 6 different parties on the interest side. And, we work with them as agents for us. They're collateralizing a lot of the loans. And people ask, like, why would people buy? It's the number one question I get is why would people buy, why would they borrow USDC coin? And, because you got to understand the borrowers of that tend to be market makers. More so than anything else, it's market makers. It's not people looking to short Bitcoin. And so it's market makers, because market makers need liquidity across all the global exchanges. And the problem with our banking system is you ever try to ACH money, it takes 3 to 5 days. Wire money is expensive, and you can't do it on Saturday or Sunday. So when market makers need liquidity, they move USDC around the globe to do it. We happen to partner with some of the biggest market makers in the space. And as we're growing, we announced over 100 million of assets now. That's continuing to grow. Is they come to us and asking us for that liquidity so they can make the markets across the globe, especially in 50 coins that we have. So there's a demand for it. Obviously, if they're borrowing at greater, we make a small spread on all that. We give about 85% of the revenue we generate on interest back to consumers. We're in this to create an ecosystem. And so if we're lending it out at 8% is to the customer, 8.5 on USDC, maybe we make 9.5 or 10 blended, and it's all public. It's all in our documents. The market makers are making more than 10% because they are trading actively against it. So that's how we do it. We work with really only the best partners. No crazy exotics, derivative products that we use. Pure finding the right counterparties and them and the collateralization of all that. That's how we do it. It's not magic. It's just flat out being conservative in how we do it.
Not only is it not magic, it's what banks do all day. They just don't give us the money.
Well, the second one, I see a lot of people, that's true. And that is absolutely positively true. Banks make a lot of money on that. I've spoken to, I have Jarrett Lillian on my board, who's ex-CEO of E-Trade. And before him, before he took the CEO role at E-Trade, he was the number 2 guy, and the head guy was a fellow by the name of Mitch Kaplan. And Mitch is a big banking guy. I spent some time with Mitch last week too, as well, to understand banking. And you're right, the banks earn a good chunk of that too. But the other side that people don't understand is in the broker dealer world, the broker dealers are lending out your securities left and right. And it's called securities lending. And they're giving you 0% of that too. So they'll take, if you own some, let's take Uber, it's probably one of the hot stocks that people want to short too in the market today. Or Tesla, and it becomes a hard to borrow. They could earn 13 to 15% as the neg rate, the interest rate on lending out some of those stocks. They're giving 0% back to the consumer. So all we're trying to do is make the system in a place where the consumers are getting value for what they hold. It's not rocket science. It's just trying to be, do the right thing for consumers, which has been our mantra from day one. Bring value back to the consumers, because that's how you build the ecosystem.
I mean, it's basically the old 80-20 rule, but in your case, 85-15 instead of 100-0, I guess, or 0-100.
Yeah, and I think you'll see, I think this will disrupt the banks in the long term as they want to get into crypto. And there's a lot of them that are talking about custody in crypto. They're going to get demands from their institutional customers to make money on that. So you'll start seeing this model switch, and you'll start seeing that this is the way it should be. Democratization of all that and back to the consumer.
So then I guess the next question is one of the ones that I have here is, why should people trust USDC in a Voyager account as much as USD in a bank account?
Look, every dollar of USDC that's minted, every coin that's minted is backed by, I think it's a 1% or so forth extra dollars that's in a bank account in a New York State trust bank. And it's backed by that dollar. You could actually go see the audit report. And if anyone out there wants, has a question, they could DM me. We'll get out the report. It's out there. Grant Thornton actually audits those numbers every single month for USDC. So it's unlike Tether, which isn't backed dollar for dollar, and we've all seen the issues with that in New York State. USDC is backed dollar for dollar with real dollars in a New York State trust bank. So every single time a USDC coin's minted, there's a dollar plus a VIG that the bank holds to support that USDC coin. So it's just as trustworthy as a US dollar. And we're giving you 8.5% interest. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I actually had
No inflation.
My 86-year-old mother-in-law said to me this weekend, I'm going to take some of my money out of the market and give it to you and put it in a US, put it and get the 8.5%. Now, 86 years old, making that decision, she's trusting that over the market. Now, hopefully she didn't do it today. She'll do it tomorrow or the day after because the stock will go up a little bit. But yeah, I think we're starting to see this adoption and transformation of people understanding that there's money to be made in their pocket.
Yeah. Well, an 86-year-old has been through phases where they could get 10, 15% on their dollars, right? So for them, especially, I mean, if you're a millennial right now and you've never gotten yield on a dollar, maybe you don't realize how mind-blowing it is to be able to just park your cash. Because I mean, getting 9% a year, if you just keep it there for 30, 40 years, you're going to be rich.
You're going to be rich. But remember, the other side, the other piece of that component is the compounding side. You're getting it from us on a monthly basis. So Tracy Mcgrady and I had a long conversation about this.
Man, it's so cool. I want to ask you about that.
He's such a good guy. Like you put $100,000 in month one, that would earn 9%, 1/12 of 9%. In month two, you're getting that 9% again on $100,000 plus that interest. So here it goes. It's just the compounding interest. I know I'm not saying anything that someone hasn't said before, but Einstein said that, right? Compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So those who get it become rich. Those that don't get the fortunes.
Right. But I mean, it's almost like, why trade? Why do anything when you could just get this interest rate and park it? So, I mean, I can tell you that I've gotten my parents, parents' friends, my friends, that this is now where people are putting their money in savings account. I mean, this is where I store my money. Why am I going to put it in a bank? Am I going to leave it in a bank?
Put it in a bank. You might as well leave it in your mattress, right? It's the same thing these days.
At least the mattress, I'll know that it'll be there.
Well, there's still talk about negative interest rates too. So, the bank's not that, you can earn more than a bank in products like ours.
So someone asked, why did Voyager buy Circle?
Oh, that was a transformation deal for us, actually. February of 2020 was when we announced it, and our team is just a killer team, led by our COO, Gerard Hanchy, who you see all the time on Twitter predicting the market. He predicted 15,000 on Bitcoin by the end of the election night, and he kind of missed it by about 18 hours. So he's actually a great market technician. But we bought Circle because we wanted to consolidate the space. We're consolidators of the space. We believe agency brokerage is the way to go. The Circle mindset was the same as us, like agency brokerage. They wanted to go into the payment space, which we're seeing they're minting new USDC every day. That's growing. They chose that path. We chose the agency, and we're able to scale. It's just, this business is about scaling. It was a huge addition for us. Brand recognition, but people were like, little old Voyager was able to buy Circle. Wow. They must be doing something right. And it just brought us so much positive out of that. And it allowed us to do a lot more things after that. So we're super excited by it. And it's been a great transaction for us.
So you already touched on the LGO as well. So someone asked, can we expect more acquisitions from Voyager?
The answer is yes. And someone just sent me, when I say Circle, just so they know, it's Circle Invest. It's the agency brokerage side, not the big Circle piece. The answer is yes. We will always look for acquisitions, whether it's product, geographic expansion, customer acquisition. We're looking at all those components all the time. My DNA is, M&A. I did the M&A for E-Trade on the brokerage side for 3+ years and bought a market maker for them, bought E-Trade Canada back for them. What else? There was a third acquisition in there. Bought Tradescape, the active trading, which actually became mine after a few years when I bought it out of them. Then I was at Lightspeed and I bought 8 entities in 7 years to scale the business. So we're not done. We just find the right ones to plug in. We're opportunistic when we do this. And we just want to make sure that everything fits from a geographic expansion product or, customer acquisition, and it becomes accretive for us.
So when will the desktop version be available? I know that's another big question you're getting. That's one I'm assuming that you get a lot from that older generation, sort of like you were talking to, because they want to, they're just not used to opening an app.
Yeah.
I don't think I mean, personally, the apps are the future, and it's not a necessity. I've never felt like I need to log in, but I know that there are a lot of people that just get comfort from seeing it on a computer screen.
Yeah, it's a major step for us. We're working on that. We've got a great partner in Market Rebellion and John and Pete Nigerian and Dirk Muller. We're trying to get that out to market. We're hopeful sometime in December that we can get that to market. We're working fast and hard at that. A lot of work to be done on bringing the desktop version. I think people will like what they see, but as usual, we'll bring it to market in the Voyager way, which will be a beta product. I think we'll have a certain amount of customers using it, and we'll start scaling it and bringing it to more and more customers over time after that. But, we think it's an important aspect. You're right. There's a whole segment of customers that want to use our product, but are more used to working off a screen, and they're trading all day, and they want the screen aspect rather than the mobile aspect. And we recognize that. But, trying to build this company, I think the thing that people don't really realize is we've only been doing this about 12 to 15 months. When we spoke last or not last, but when we spoke in Vegas a year ago, we were just launching the Android. And so in 12 months, we've gone from less than 5 million of customer assets, only in iOS, to over 100 million of assets, iOS and Android, 49 states, interest program. What we've accomplished in 12 months is huge. I mean, I don't know of many companies that go as fast as we do on this stuff. So desktop in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we're kind of excited by it.
Oh, that's soon. I mean, and there's a lot of people asking, so it's good to hear that that's one coming, because yet again, I think people think I'm like Voyager customer service sometimes. My DMs will be like, so when is Europe? When is Canada? Let's ask.
They could
Straight to the source.
Yeah, no. Look, and you know that. I mean, I spend a lot of time on Telegram and Twitter, and I try to respond to as many people as I can. I get so
amazing.
So many direct messages, so many tweets at me. I try to do as much as I can. But if they have questions, they can always tweet at me, DM me. I'll sit and watch a football game on a Sunday, watching my good old Giants win number 2, I think. So we just got to play the Redskins every week, and we'd be 16-0.
But the Redskins kind of looked good for a minute. Not yesterday, but people were starting to get this like Redskins aren't terrible thing. But their quarterbacks keep breaking their legs, I guess.
Yeah,
sadly.
and they did another one yesterday. So, but I try to answer a lot of those. I spend all my time when I'm doing that trying to answer customers, because I think it's important to listen to the customers and try to respond to as many as we can.
That's incredible, though. I mean, I would say you have better things to do, but I guess at the end of the day, there's no better thing to do.
Nope. Customers are number one. They're priority number one, right? And so, we make it it's part of our culture. It's customers trying to answer their questions. We're in a new economy, it's crypto, it's blockchain. People are trying to learn, people are trying to adopt. And if we don't spend the time with customers, who's going to do it? Who's going to teach them? Who's going to bring them along? Who's going to give them new product? We think we're the leader in doing that for people, because we want to spend the time with all our customers. And I don't see many others doing that, especially in the US. I don't see many of the big exchanges spending time with their customers like we do.
I agree. So next question, will there be a debit card available, and what would be some of its features?
The answer again is yep. That's being worked on as well. It's like everybody read my product roadmap, which I haven't put out. But yeah, debit card is coming. We're working on it. It'll be sometime in first part of 2021, first quarter or so. A lot of things to get done on that, like everything. I mean, I wish I could do my Bwitched, for those people who are old enough to remember Bwitched. I could just, tweak my nose and it'll be done. It doesn't work that way, but yep, the features there would be earn your interest up until the time you use the debit card, be able to earn rewards on that, cash back, all those things that we've been saying are all part of the plan on the debit card.
It's amazing that every single time I ask a question, you're like, yeah, like next month. Like 3 months, 2 weeks. It's none of it's like, yeah, 2024.
No, it's not. It can't be. No. And like I said, the team we have, led by our COO, Gerard, our compliance officer, and Janice and Evan and Lewis and Amateo, and the team is just so, we're all in tune. We all, go to the same beat. We all trying to drive new product into the business. So it's never a day that's not fun. because that team is so dedicated to the business, and then everybody that works for them, everybody's got the same vision. Get product to market, get it in customers' hands early, and get them the first version. And we know we're going to improve upon that, but let's get the first version to get customer feedback rather than trying to build the perfect solution. Let's build a really good solution that customers want, and then we'll tweak it from there.
So someone wants to know if there are any plans for crypto to stock trading.
Yeah, we're working on that one too.
2 weeks.
That's a little longer, but we'll have some pretty cool announcement about, you know, some of the stuff we're doing on that side too over the next month or so. And I'll be happy to do this again with you when we announce some of those things. But yeah, that's always been a plan of ours. The game plan is probably, you know, June, July of next year, crypto to stocks. We'd work with probably the top 10 or so stocks, FANG stocks, definitely, maybe some others, maybe even the Voyager stock on that too. Allow people to use Bitcoin and USDC to trade those stocks. We think it's an important aspect. It's all fungible. We think stocks, bonds, options, it's fungible. It's cash. Everything's a item of barter, you know, item of transactional item. So people should be able to use that stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. In this country, they don't seem to believe that, but I think we'll eventually get there down the road. Yeah.
You ever try to get your money out of a broker dealer? It's like days, weeks. They do this ACAT form. You can't get out. It's the Hotel California of money.
I mean, you can't get your money out of a bank. Like you go to an ATM, it's like you can get $500 today. You have to go inside, and then recently I had to go to like 3 different branches in COVID just to send a wire transfer because like for a deal, and they were like, you know, we don't have the person here today who can do that, and we don't have. And I mean, well, I want my money. You can get money out of Voyager in 5 minutes, so.
But that's the problem with the system. And that's why when we go back to the interest, why would people pay? Because they could move USDC in a moment's notice. You know, you can't get your cash out of the bank. You know, go get a wire, then you maybe have to get it notarized, right? So try to get a document notarized today. Thankfully, there's a couple of places online you can get them done now. But if you had to notarize something in COVID, like who's gonna, you know, how are you gonna do that? And the system's broke, and that's why we're trying to fix it and make things more accessible for people.
So I want to remind everyone, you can still ask questions in the chat. I'm trying to keep up with them and all the questions from Twitter and all the questions that were submitted before, but do feel free to keep asking questions. I see a bunch of them here and I will get to them. I had a bunch of questions about this actually, that people asked. How do you select what altcoins to share on the platform? What is the vetting process like? And, you know, and then people want to know what's coming next, but I know you're not gonna be able to tell them that. So.
No, I won't say what's next, but you know, we have a couple of really good sources for coins, whether it's, you know, counsel or advisors that all work with us and introduce us to coins. But look, I think the number one thing for us is it can't be a security token. You know, first and foremost, we won't trade security tokens. Too much gray area. Maybe it's not even gray, it's black or white, and that's in the black zone with security tokens. So we won't touch those. But second is, so we'll speak to counsel and we'll vet them and our advisors. You know, we need liquidity. We're an agency broker. We're not an exchange. So if your coin is not on an exchange that we're connected to, or if it's on a tier 2 or tier 3 exchange, chances of us taking it on is probably slim and nil. You know, we've seen what has happened with OK and funds getting, you know, tied up there, and that was considered a tier 1 or tier 2 exchange. So we've got to make sure that we can get the liquidity, get cash out, get coins out. And if your token is on, a Korean exchange and only a Korean exchange, the chance of us picking it up is slim and nil. And nil will win that one 100% of the time. We need volume somewhere. We need exchanges to have them, and we need to make sure it's not a security token. That's pretty much how we do it. We look across the globe, and sometimes we're pitching people that we want them, to work with us and getting the exchange up, getting their token up. And sometimes a lot of them come to us as well. And we'll take all the inbounds and we'll vet them. And we have a team doing that. Amateo and Louis Bateman, Amateo Ron and Louis Bateman vet those for us all the time. So if people are out there listening, watching, and they have a project, they think those guys should email us, and we're willing to take a look and vet through it.
I hope Amateo's watching, because he's like my favorite person. Maybe
he's slacking me he's trying to slack me all the answers to the questions. I'm like, Amateo, I got them all. Don't worry.
I hope you're here. We all love you, man. You're the best.
He's definitely
so amazing. So somebody asked, what are the fundamental drivers of VGX token price appreciation?
Look, I think one of the things that I've seen a lot of stuff about the new token swap with LGO, but we're putting staking into the equation. Now, when we stake and when customers will stake, that'll take tokens out of sale circulation, right? I mean, so if they're staked, people aren't going to want to sell them because they're going to stake for the interest. So there'll be less tokens in circulation for sale. So I think that's one key component of why it'll drive up. I think the other is all the programmers we're putting in place around them, using the Voyager ecosystem to generate more rewards and tokens, whether it's cash back or earnings on debit card usage or trading usage. We want people to use our system, and you'll earn more tokens with that. And then people will earn them, and then they'll stake them. So you'll take them out of circulation, and they'll start, you should get price appreciation out of that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then I had a couple people ask about the differentiation between VGX and BQX.
Man, it is VGX. There is no BQX. I know Binance calls it BQX, but I think when those systems were all built, a lot of the exchange systems, they didn't come from the capital markets world. And in the capital markets world, you build your systems so that when there's corporate actions like a name change or a symbol change, you can easily make that change. Wasn't the way a lot of this technology was built. So on the Binance platform, I don't believe they could change the name BQX. When we do the token swap, one of the other reasons it's not the main reason, but a reason we did the token swap, and we're working on that, is to get the real token name, whatever we choose it to be on Binance and every other exchange that works with us. Because I think it's confusing to people. They see BQX on Binance, VGX on our platform, VGX on CoinMarketCap or on CoinGecko and so forth. But it doesn't match up to some of the exchanges. So another reason why we're doing the swap.
Can you talk more about the swap? People have asked about it. What does that look like? What are the details? Is it 1-for-1, or is there going to be a change in value? And
yeah, I've seen a lot. Someone wrote a pretty good in-depth article about it on Medium about it. Voyager token holders will get 1-for-1. LGO token holders have to deliver 6 point something for one. And then there's a pool created for marketing purposes, 40 million for year one. And I believe the community, after year one, the community will determine what the interest rate is. We're putting the token back into the hands of the community, where it was, and then it wasn't, and now it's going back to the community. And on top of that, they'll have the rights to cancel the marketing pool after year 3 too. So the community really will determine how much more tokens come into market over time, and it'll come completely out of the company perspective. The company will not be using those tokens at all for cash purposes. It's really just to build the community, rewards, token back, cash back on trading, as I mentioned earlier. Use the ecosystem, earn more tokens. It's not being used to sell into the marketplace and generate cash. We have no interest in doing that. As a public company, we've got over $10 million of cash. We have people calling me every day wanting to invest more. So it's not a cash thing. It's all about building a community thing. We want to build a community, and that's, a global community using our ecosystem.
That makes a lot of sense. So a couple of people asked this, when will XRP be available to transfer they said to Voyager on Android, but then somebody asked, I think more generally, when will coins that are not transferable now be able to be transferred?
All those are a work in process. We're really hopeful that we'll be done on the XRP in time for the Flare airdrop. Right? It's the Flare airdrop. Did I get that right? Yeah, I think
Spark,
it's
maybe
Spark Flare. Yeah,
somebody I didn't know, but somebody in that same question, the person said, "And will Voyager support the Spark airdrop?"
Yeah, so maybe Spark airdrop. I don't know why I said Flare.
Flare, Spark, firework.
Yeah,
fire.
I'm getting them all confused these days.
Yeah.
But the Spark airdrop, we're really hopeful to get that. In any case, we will figure out a way to make sure any customer who has XRP with us will get the airdrop. But we're working, it's the hardest thing to do. It's one of the things, we're an agency broker. We're not an exchange. An exchange must have the ability to crypto deposit and withdraw every coin they bring up. In our case, we want to give people the ability to do that in as many coins as we can, but at the same time, trade them and make alpha on these trades on some of these coins. So we're working on adding everyone we don't have. We're continually, our developers have to write to each protocol, and we're working on that and adding those every day. More and more work's getting done on adding more protocols. So nothing to announce right now, but we're hopeful again on XRP by the airdrop. And no matter what, anyone who holds XRP with us will be able to participate in the airdrop.
Awesome. I'm trying to go through the questions now because I refreshed. I think my feed was frozen, like 70 more messages came up. Somebody was asking, to collect interest with Voyager, do your assets have to be stored on the app?
100%. There's no other way for us to do it. It's you have to store them with us, let us custody them, because we could then do the securities lending programs that we're doing to earn the interest. Otherwise, we have no access to do anything like that. So unfortunately, yes. That said, we do have our own wallet. It's still the Ethos wallet, and that's being worked on to convert to the Voyager wallet as well.
Someone asked, will the tokens be inflationary, meaning will the supply increase? I'm assuming they're talking about after the swap, since I'm catching up here.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, that the interest will obviously add more tokens when you do that. So the supply will increase, but it's back to the community after 1 year, whether or not that supply increases or stays stable. It's going to be in the community's hands to do that. And people should remember too that we say it's a 1-to-1 swap with the Voyager token to the new one, and the LGO is 6 something to 1. You have to give up 6 point something to get 1. After a year, if you haven't executed that swap, those tokens get burnt. So in the end, you might actually get more, because I don't expect 100% of all tokens to be swapped. Some people have probably lost their keys. Somebody might not even realize it, and it won't happen. So it won't be a perfect 100% of all those tokens getting swapped in. So you'll actually get more.
Yeah. I'm getting roasted over here. Maybe both of us, but I think it was me for saying Redskins when we were talking about football.
Yeah,
Washington football team.
I'm an old guy.
It's still the Oakland. I mean, I'm still like the Raiders are still in LA for me, and the Chargers are definitely San Diego.
I'm not. It is definitely the Washington Football Club. It's just I've been watching football. I'm 55.
Decades. Come on, man.
Yeah, I've been watching football since I was 5 years old on my dad's lap, watching the Giants. And one of our biggest rivals was the Washington Football Club. So it just comes out naturally. Eventually, I'll get better.
It's a vision rival. That's gonna be stuck in your brain forever. Here's a fun one. What bags does Steve hold? No comment.
I'm more of an investor, looking at my own token, a lot in USDC, the main tokens, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I want the interest on those, plus the upside. I'm deep in USDC. I want the interest, and I'm deep in my own token. So those are those are the ones, but that I invest in. But then again, from my perspective, I don't trade a lot. I'm an investor, never traded a lot. When I was in the equity world, I believe it's a conflict of interest for me to do anything more than put my money in those things, leave it alone, let it run. Whatever happens, happens. I'm earning interest on those tokens, all 4 or 5 that I have, but I'm not a trader. Because the other thing is running a company. If I'm sitting here trading and looking at and trying to pick my points in and out, I'm not doing my job. My job is to build a company, not build my investing portfolio.
Totally.
I'm more deep in Voyager stock than anything else. So I need to build a company, and I have fiduciary obligations to the shareholders of the company and to the stock and to the token holders. So my 100% of my focus has to be there.
This is a question for me, but what do you think of Saylor and putting the treasury of MicroStrategy in Bitcoin, or 25% of it? As a CEO of a company,
I think he has a position. He has he's making a bet on that. Nobody puts, their company treasury into something unless they think it's, the upside to it. But he manages the downside. He knows where, how much he can, if it falls to a certain level, maybe he has a mandate to liquidate. I don't know. I mean, that's internal to the company. Look, we have a lot tied up in these coins too as a company, and we're in the business. We're believers, and we think it's changing the way people operate. And so I think it's pretty good for them to do that. And we'd like to do more and more over time as well.
Next question, which I know is one you've gotten a lot as well. Stop losses. When do you think you'll have stop losses available?
I'd have to ask Gerard on that. That one I don't know off the top of my head.
Fair enough.
So
I'm just reading through. I got to ask him.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And there was now I got lost on whatever the next question was. I had it. Literally, it's everybody telling me it's the Washington football team. I got it, guys. I know. I got that one wrong. So everyone wants dates.
I'm a big St. John's College basketball fan, and it's still hard for me to call them the Red Storm.
Yeah, well, people change their names, so it's
hard.
The cities throw me off even worse than the name. Yep. Honestly, when they keep changing, like I have not gotten Las Vegas Raiders right one time yet. I don't think. And I gotta say, you talked about just now you holding USDC. It's funny because I never really saw a purpose for stable. People used to ask me do you use Tether? They'd be like, no, I just go to dollars. Like, what's the point? But now I've taken so much of my portfolio and just put it into USDC now, which is not something I ever thought that I would do.
Well, look, I think it's the beginning of the transition into digital currencies, right? I think when you read all the articles about the yuan, the digital yuan, digital krona, we're effectively, we run a digital dollar today, right? I mean, when was the last time, you pulled greenbacks out of your pocket? And I think post-corona here with, bartenders, are they going to want digital dollar? Are they going to want greenbacks, or just, scan me some money and my tip on that? And I think we're there. I think it's just the difference between digital dollars and running a, digital system like Venmo and all those things are just digital. It's just not digital dollars. So I think it's the next major step, and that you can get interest on it. I think it just makes so much sense for people at this point in time. The early converters are going to be the ones that make the money here, because eventually, maybe 5-10 years when it's all, digital dollars, maybe those interest rates are going to be absorbed by the bank again. Right. But, now is the time that you can make money.
Yeah, it's crazy. So few people want to know what's up. And I meant to ask you this before and I forgot. Tracy Mcgrady. Tell me how that happened. Anyone who doesn't know, Tracy Mcgrady certainly was one of my favorite NBA superstars of all time. I know now he's actually involved, and you guys are giving away a crazy amount of money together.
Yeah, we are so excited to have Tracy and his partner, Grant Haas. We know Grant, one of my co-founders knows Grant, real well. We were talking through with him about what we're doing and what we're trying to do with the interest and the debit card and the USDC. He introduced us to Tracy, and we had multi-hour long conversations about how the world's changing to the digital dollar, how people can earn interest. And the one thing people don't know about Tracy, he does a lot of work on trying to teach younger basketball players, younger athletes about, financial education, and was like, this is perfect for what he tries to do in teaching people how to manage their money, how to get ahead in life using, finances and create wealth. And it just meshed. The first time we spoke, 10 minutes in, we're like, this is a match. And so we've spoken so many more times after that first time. We think it could really help us get Voyager mainstream, which is what we're trying to do, take our entire product and our business mainstream. So it's a great fit. It's funny because from that, I've had Major League Baseball players, NFL players, NFL Hall of Famers all reach out, how do we get involved? Because they think about it as financial education, and we're trying to teach people how to create wealth, and they want to be part of that. And we look for people who have that knowledge, athletes who have that knowledge, to work with us on that, because that's what we're trying to do, right? At the end of the day, we are a company, we're trying to make money. That's our goal. and bring fiduciary obligation to the token holders and the shareholders. At the same time, we're trying to create wealth for customers. And what better way, there's no better way than to have people who are well-known in the community, well-known in the US, whether it's Tracy or someone else, help us get that message out and let people, take the wealth back, take it out from the corporations and bring it back. And Tracy was all in, loves it. We're excited. We got some more things coming up with him in the near future to really get this thing into the mainstream.
So awesome.
I think there's a promo that Tracy's actually running to get a signed jersey from Tracy too. And I guess you have your choice. Do you want it from the Magic or the Raptors or the Rockets or
I'm a Florida guy, so I would take the Magic. I need like a Penny Hardaway, a T-Mac, and get the whole series. Maybe a Shaq, get all the classic Magic jerseys. So what do you consider your greatest achievement with Voyager yet?
Man, there's so many of them. But I think really the thing I'm most proud of is the team we have around us, the team I have around me. I learned a really long time ago that you're only as good as the team that you've put together. And the other thing I learned about it was I got to have the team that's smarter than I am, because then they challenge me each day. And I really, truly believe that the team we've been able to put together makes me better at my job because they make me smarter. And that's probably the number one achievement over anything else, is making sure you have the right people around you to bring this, and really we're trying to do something transformational. I better have the right team around me. And these guys are 10 times smarter than me. I mean, I love working with them every single day. I wish we were in the office more and we don't have to do this, virtually in a lot of cases, but that's probably my proudest thing.
People want to know how the 7% interest on VGX is sustainable and how it'll be funded when the pool runs out.
We've done all the calculations. It's sustainable for quite some time. Again, and the community could decide not to do it. So we think it's sustainable for quite a few years out there.
Yeah. And I think people, I keep getting comments. Voyager stock is pumping. I think a lot of people don't even know that you guys are like a legitimate company that has a stock that's trading on the Canadian Stock Exchange, right?
It's important though, because, we saw what happened with BitMEX, and we've seen what happened, Cred over the weekend. And I was active on Twitter about this. Is one of the reasons we went public, and we did, is that my financials get audited each year. I got quarterly financials that I have to sign and certify that they're accurate. My CFO does too. And so we're trying to make sure that we're so transparent about this. And transparency is really what leads us to trying to build, the next generation of financial services company, is by being transparent about it. I'm sure if like Cred, if it was quarterly financials, some of the things that they're talking about might have gotten caught earlier. So it's important to us. I also learned that don't watch the stock price. I just do my job. We bring news to market. We try to do the best we can for our stock every single day. And if you bring value, people realize it, investors realize it, and the stock will go up. I was at E-Trade when the stock was $27. I was there when it was $3. Then I was there, then it rose back up to $25. So you just do the right things and you build a stock price, you build a token price. That's important to me.
So we've touched on a whole lot of things that you guys have coming, obviously, that people have asked about. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that we should be looking for in the coming months, or, in the first quarter, again, of 21 or next year? Or did we nail it all?
Well, we touched on the debit card, the desktop. More tokens will start generating interest. I think we're keeping adding tokens every time we can, and we find right partners on that. We'll continue to look to add more transfers, more interest, acquisitions. Just watch out. We're always looking on that front, trying to find more. We're aggressively growing the company. I think that's what people should look out for. Again, more celebrities probably joining the fray in here, and us marketing more. All those things we touched on. I think I could just reiterate that our goal is to actively and aggressively grow this into the mainstream. We think there's an opportunity right now to do that. And so we're so excited by that and all the people we've put around us. So that's probably what, how I would leave that.
Perfect. Then I think you can't answer this, but when will the next asset be added? ETA for release, not details into the asset. I'm assuming you can't really answer that one, right?
A whole bunch of them. Yeah, we don't want, we're unlike others in the space that try to say, hey, we're looking at these. We don't do that. We think it's best to, when we're ready to release an asset, we'll just bring it on and announce it, not to tether it. And there's no reason for us to do that.
So you don't say, here's 20 things we're thinking about and pump the price and then, okay.
Nope. Nope. We'll let others take care of that.
And then list none of them.
Yeah, we'll let others deal with that. The one thing I want everybody who's listening and watching to understand is that we are the trustworthy source and the trustworthy company to store, hold, invest, trade your crypto. That's what we want to be. I did it when I was at E-Trade. People don't remember. A lot of people don't remember how the online brokerage started in 1995 or 6. And we got to E-Trade in 99. And it was still a small company. A lot of people, but it hadn't grown its revenues yet. And you had to earn people's trust that they would invest online and trade online. And I built my own at Lightspeed, same thing, how to get people to trust, us there. And it's the same thing here, just trying to build people's trust. And trust comes from being honest, getting things to market, getting feedback, listening to customers, evaluating that, and moving the business forward in a really open manner and being a public company. And that's what we try to do. That's the mantra every day. Open, honesty, listen to customers, build a business.
And this is an important question. I think you probably get it all the time, but as we know, hacking in the crypto space readily happens. What software do you have to ensure security within your site? And I think software is a pretty specific question, but I think maybe more generally, how do you make sure that funds are safe, that individuals don't get hacked, that you don't get hacked? I'm sure that lends to where you custody and how you secure assets.
Yeah, well, I won't give everyone the roadmap.
Why not?
Hey, no. Look, we use multiple custodians, multiple execution partners. We take security, is number one priority from a technology perspective. We use lots of different programs. We have lots of monitoring tools. It's why sometimes we're a little slower in getting crypto out to people, because we want to make sure that it is who they say they are. And there's, security and safety of people's assets are number one, but that's why we try to do the custody over multiple parties with multiple insurance programs related to those. And that's how we do it. We don't want to put all our eggs in one basket with one custodian, and we don't use one security monitoring tool. We use multiples, and we use all sorts of stuff that they don't even tell me, because they don't want me to know, because then I would probably spew it on some of these calls. So
single point of failure.
Yeah, don't put that. The
guy on the podcast and the live streams during the AMAs. Awesome. Yeah. So I think that we've pretty much covered it, and I know we're right up against it right now. So where should everybody follow you, keep up with what you were doing? Because obviously we know there's a lot of announcements coming here. So how can people?
Yeah, so you can always follow us at our Telegram channels, on Twitter at Invest Voyager. Go to our website, sign up for our blog and our newsletter. We send that out twice a week, and it's quite informative. We've got some of the best writers around. Julia, who does that, and Melissa and Amateo, who write these, are just phenomenal at what they put together. Really engaging. We have some of the most engaging newsletters. People really open it and read it, which is great. So you can follow us there. You can follow me at Earls, EHRLS15 on Twitter. Old Man Crypto 15 on Telegram. I've said for 2 years now, I'm the gray hair in the room. So you're getting short, there. Man. No, mine's worse. Mine's getting, I also have kids that are 22 and 26. So, you get a lot of gray hairs when they get.
So I know. Is it the 22 and 26-year-olds that give you gray hair, or my 1-year-old and my 5-year-old?
The 1-year-old and 5-year-old give you a little bit, but then they grow out of it and you're okay for a while. But then when they get to those late teenage, forget it. It's all over.
Teenage daughter seems like I'm just going to go straight white.
Yes. It will.
Christopher Lloyd, the Back to the Future.
Yeah. Those years, oh God, I'm so glad I'm past them. But, 26-year-old, it's just, they both need more money every day. So it's, I got to keep doing this.
Millennials. They got the short end of the stick, man. It's not their fault. It's not their fault.
No, that's where to follow us. Facebook as well. Invest Voyager. Business is growing. Again, they could follow Tracy Mcgrady and see some of his stuff too, and he's tweeting about us. And we got a whole bunch of promotions going, and I know we have one with you, and you should take the opportunity to say that. Let everyone come in through your stuff.
I will.
We're excited by it. We think we're on the really early stages. Like I always tend to say, we're probably in the second inning of this game with crypto and the adoption.
Second inning. I love it. That gives me so much hope and excitement.
Much runway, yeah.
And as he said, you can look in the description. There is a link to sign up for Voyager there. And I encourage you guys to definitely do it. And if it's not available in your country, as you heard here, it's coming very, very soon. And I just can't like suggest it enough. I love it. It's what I use on an everyday basis. You guys are just amazing, really the best team, and it's so much fun talking to you and hearing about all the progress. So thank you for everything you guys are doing. Thank you for coming here and answering some of these very hard questions.
Honesty and integrity. That's the key to being a successful business. Honesty and integrity. It's what we live by and continue to do it. Happy to come back when we have some pretty cool announcements coming.
Anytime you have news, this is the place to share it. So once again, I appreciate it. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We had a lot of people. This is really awesome. You're very popular, much more popular than me when I'm here by myself.
Oh, well, thanks for having me, and keep up your good work on the podcast. It's when I go for my weekend walks, it's the number one thing I put on, and I listen to your podcasts, and we're happy to be sponsors, and you keep killing it on that. It's a great, you do a great job. Maybe we'll try to get McGrady on one of them or something like that.
Let's do that.
I'll see if I'll work on it.
Have your people call his people, and then
we'll see if we can get him on, even if it's for like 10 minutes or so. We'll try to get him on there.
We have to do that. Yeah.
So
awesome. Well, thank you again, everybody. Thank you for being here, and we'll do this again soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We're done. That was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.